So tell me, man, like, what is it that kind of brought you to the call today?
Yeah. So what brought me to the call is he reached out and asked me kind of what my goals were, and I just started in sales 2.5 months ago with a digital marketing company, and so very brand new and wanted to get a good foundation. So I joined his course because I like the idea of NEPQ, because I'm not a very pushy person and I never liked those sales tactics.
Okay.
So in the beginning of his course right now on the engagement stage modules, and he reached out because I commented on a post and asked how everything was going. I have a goal of increasing my salary through commission to $100,000 a year by the end of this year.
Okay.
And he asked,
where are you at the moment?
Right now, I just made my first sale yesterday.
Awesome.
Yep. So I have my salary $60,000 a year. So I need to be making $3,500 in reoccurring monthly revenue by the end of this year.
Okay. So you're a salaried.
I am. I'm very fortunate. I am. I'm very fortunate in that regard.
Okay. So you have a $60,000 salary. And what kind of comms do you get when you make a sale?
I get a first time commission of $250 for the lowest package, and then it goes up from there. It can be all the way up to let's see here. It could be all the way up to like $750 first time, but then the monthly reoccurrings go anywhere from we're still kind of structuring this because it's kind of a new package that we're selling. It's going to be anywhere between like $75 and $150 or $200.
Bro, that's pretty hefty. You can make some serious cash.
Yeah, so very fortunate because I came in from the startup world, and I'm working with a small business to help him grow, and so kind of partnering with him.
Okay.
And I created a partnership between us and then one of my other friends who has a pretty unique package when it comes to putting guaranteed appointments onto people's calendars.
Okay. That's awesome. And so like how much opportunity do you have? Like how many sales calls do you get booked per week, per month?
Well, today I have, I believe, 5 or 6 sales calls on my calendar. I created quite the great partnership because how it worked is we were originally going to white label his service underneath our digital marketing agency, but he has trouble with the sales piece. And so what we're actually doing is we're going to white label our sales services underneath him. So now that we're underneath his brand and his company, he's putting all of the appointments he generates from his ads onto my calendar.
I like it, bud. I like it.
Yeah.
So you could easily be doing $30K a month, easy.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And like, what's the sales process that you take people through now?
So the sales process is once they get put onto my calendar, they have seen a video that breaks down or most of them have, some of them don't watch it. It is a demo video that our partner founder of the company created. And so they get kind of a rundown of what it looks like, but basically get them on the call, kind of go over the agenda of the call with them, figure out their problems, where they're at, and then kind of dive into, if they have questions, then dive into the solution and then try and get them to commit from there. But typically what I've been seeing is it's more of a 2-call close just because I don't feel like I'm creating enough urgency for them to take action.
And how much is the offer?
The starting package is $3,000 a month.
Okay. Good stuff, man. And what are the objections that you're getting that you're struggling to overcome?
I got to talk to my partner. I got to sleep on it. Just simple ones that I know aren't super difficult to kind of get around, but just being so new and so green, I'm just trying to figure that out on my own right now.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, man. So Yeah. Okay. And I guess like, and you've been doing this for how long? Like 2 months?
2 months.
Okay. And how many sales calls have
Well,
you taken?
well, realistically, I've only been doing this. Last week was my first full week of like sales calls. Because before that, like I said, we were trying to white label his service. So I was trying to figure out how to bring in my own prospects organically, and I was banging my head against the wall. Realistically, this is my second week of sales calls.
Yeah, dude, 5 calls in a day though. That's no joke. It's a serious volume, you know?
Yeah. Yep. And I already have like 3 more scheduled for tomorrow, and they just kind of keep rolling in.
Okay, perfect. And in terms of the scripting that you're taking people through and how you're actually selling them, you know, also, are you selling like coaches? Like what's the niche that you're selling into?
We're selling to appointments to roofers.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know a few guys in the roofing space.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, like, I mean, I've done that kind of sale before. I really like selling coaches, consultants, especially with salespeople, guys like that. Yeah, so like I like selling salespeople, and it's a good niche because like, you know, salespeople in particular have to have that like that sort of congruence, speaks in action. Like, you know, you kind of have to be able to show up to every call with that level of certainty to get people to act. You know, in order to do that, you have to be sort of getting it after it yourself, right? So, yeah, man. So in terms of like the process that you take people through, like your scripting, like how long have you been doing that?
This is my second week.
Okay, cool. And you're doing sort of like some NEPQ stuff. Did they give you a script? Like, how did you put it together?
So the founder of the company kind of put together a script. He follows, and he's the one who actually turned me on to stuff when I started selling. So he has a script, and it has NEPQ aspects to it, but he's never taken the course, so it doesn't have like the actual situation questions, problem awareness questions. So it's not your typical old style of selling, but it's not NEPQ.
Okay. Do you like the scripting you have in place now?
I would say it's a good start, but it definitely needs to be fixed.
What do you like about it?
I like that it creates a conversation. I feel what I've done pretty well is create kind of that conversation and have them not really feel like it's a sales call, but where it kind of lacks is, and I know was a little better at it because he had done it for a while, but it's where it lacks for me is to create that urgency and for them to really feel how bad their problems are and how bad they need to be fixed.
Okay. And is that having an impact on the sales?
I would say so, because they're just like, I'll think about it, or I don't know right now. I've had a couple people say, man, this is just too expensive, but other people I'm having to say, okay, well, when can we schedule another one so we can go over this again? So,
and what do you say to someone who says it's too expensive, or it's not the right time, or they need to sleep on it, check to their partner? Like, do you have kind of any objection handling loops that you have that you can take people through?
Not yet.
And do you believe that those are reasonable?
No, not at all. I mean, actually, one of them is just because if they really have a problem and they really want to have it fixed, or they're serious about growing their company. I mean, I know our solution is better than everyone else's out there, and it'll do that for them.
Okay. All right, well, just so I can understand the reason why you're looking to kind of do this, but what's sort of the main reason you're looking to kind of streamline the process now?
Because we're looking to grow a sales team to grow this, and I'm kind of the first guy in the foundation. So I want to be able to have a system and process that is streamlined in place so that when we bring someone in, they can just plug into the system.
Okay. So you're going to be like the guy who comes in and learns everything so that you can disseminate it to the team moving forward.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. Well, I just want to make sure that what we do would actually work, but sort of, do you have like an ideal criteria of what you're looking for in a coaching or a training program from?
No, I don't. I mean, this is all just so brand new to me that, I just joined NEPQ a week and a half ago. So
right.
I'm not even fully through the NEP virtual course. And I just commented on this post, like I said, and I kind of had a feeling that he was going to set me up with a call for some training, but I haven't really looked into what that would look like, or even really thought about it too much, just because I've been so into all my focus on the virtual training and just all these sales calls I have.
Yeah. Well, the virtual training goes hand in hand with the coaching, right? It's just a much faster way of doing things. But like, what is it that you feel like you need to put yourself in the best position to be able to kind of, one, hit that income goal of 100K a year run rate as fast as possible, but two, also like be the guy that is going to build and lead this sales team moving forward. Like, I dare say access to a website might not give you everything that you need, but it might, but like, what is it you feel you really need?
I just really need a structure underneath me and a foundation that I know works for me and that I can have complete confidence in to go train someone else on. Also accountability.
What do you mean by that?
Just be surrounded by like-minded people, and also have someone who I can say, all right, here's my goals. And then have someone say, okay, how's it going? And kind of just be there, and kind of help me and hold me accountable to doing the things that I say I'm going to do.
Okay. So you sort of mentioned getting to $100,000 a year. Is that like the ideal income, or would you rather make more?
No, that's more. That's just the start, because that was kind of my stretch goal when I first started this sales, when I was like, okay, now, because my old job, I didn't have any way to increase my income. Okay. And now I do. So it's like, all right, I had 3 months when I said it. And so I was like, okay, I think that's a pretty good stretch for me, because I didn't even have sales calls on my calendar yet. And so I was like, here's my goal, and I'm going to find a way to do it. But that's just my short-term goal by the end of this year.
Okay, that makes sense. And I suppose, like, so what's that? Let's just say a run rate of, say, 10K a month, right? Let's just say that.
Yep.
That's a round number. Like, have you sort of thought about what you would do with 10 grand a month coming in?
Yep.
So, like, what would it do for you personally if you were able to do all those things?
It would lift a lot of stress that I've had.
What do you mean by stress?
Just because we've always talked about going and doing fun things. Being able to make that type of money would be just a relief, and it would honestly be really, really exciting to be able to do those things.
Okay. And how long have you felt that way?
Just this last month.
Okay, that makes sense.
For being excited about it, but about wanting the relief and not being stressed. I've known that for a long time, if I could get out from underneath it.
Okay. Is that like, it sounds pretty, has that had an impact on you, man? Like,
oh yeah, big time.
Do you mind if I tell you a quick story?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I used to be in the military. I was in special operations. And then when I got out, I became a personal trainer. I didn't really have any life skills. I joined the military at like 18, 19 years old, spent the whole time fighting in other countries. And then when I was 26, I got out. Then when I got out, I became a personal trainer, right? And then I was like, okay, I'm going to open a gym, because I'm always like looking for the next thing. Pretty driven guy. And then I opened up this gym. I had a fair bit of money saved up from the military, because like you don't really spend any money when you're overseas, and I was overseas a lot, right? Plus the Australian military gets paid very well, right? I think my salary was like 180, right?
Okay.
And so I had a lot of money saved up. Took a year traveling, burned through some cash, kind of lived it up. And then I had a fair bit of savings left over. But then when I opened this gym, I put all my money and then I borrowed $90,000 in an overdraft facility, right? So I had a $90,000 debt with an 18% interest rate compounded monthly. And then, yeah, it was pretty shit. And I wasn't married at the time, but I was with my girlfriend. And I didn't really tell her the full story as to how much debt I was in because I was pretty confident I could get out of it. But I was 3 months into a 4-month rent-free period. The rent was $11,500 a month for that particular gym. And I had like 10 clients after 3 months of literally working 18 hours a day trying to get people into that gym. And I guess it's similar to when you first started out looking to get your own leads, right? I just didn't know how to get leads, man. Like I was just ridiculous. Yeah. And then so like I'd done everything. I'd worn a gorilla suit walking around with fat calipers trying to get right everything, man. Like you name it. There was no lack of hustle, but I just didn't sort of really have the skills. And you can work really hard. It doesn't mean shit, So I saw this ad on Facebook and it was like how to generate 100 leads per month in your fitness business. Right. So I was like, well, I'll go to the seminar. I went to the seminar. Guy had, he presented a really good argument. And he had all the evidence of what he was doing in his gyms. And I was like, it was $6.5K for 8 weeks. I was like, okay. So I nipped outside real quick and I called my dad and I was like, I was probably about 20. I would have been like 28, 29 at the time, I think, like 28. I called my dad and I was like, this is it. This is what's happening. And he's like, okay, do you have the money? I was like, well, no, but I was like, I can get access to money. Do you know what I mean? Like you can figure it out. I wouldn't be able to pay the whole thing, but I'd be able to payment plan it. Right. And he was like, okay, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? I was like, I'd do it. And he was like, so why the hell would you act in any other way? Like if you're not going to back yourself, who is? I was like, okay, it's a pretty good argument. So I went up to the front of the room and I was like, I'll do it. I can put like $3,000 down and the rest of it is going to have to be over the next 8 weeks. Right. Like I'll pay you first, but I was like, just so you know, this is like my Hail Mary pass. Right. I didn't tell my girlfriend, didn't tell my business partner. Right. Came back the next day saying, hey, I've signed us up to this course. My girlfriend at the time, my wife, she didn't care. She was like, yeah, I trust you 100%. Like, I know you'll do the right thing. My business partner was not happy. But I was like, mate, every single decision that we've made has led us to be in a position where we're ultimately going to fail no matter what we do. So this is the only option that we have to do something different that we don't know how to do. So I was like, we can keep doing the same shit over and over again. And we can, I was like, or we can just fucking do it. And I was like, we're in it now. We might as well just make the best of it. And it's really funny because me and him had that relationship, our entire business relationship, where I would act and he would think.
Okay.
And I ended up leaving the business about 5 years later. Or 4 years later, and we built that to 18 gyms. And when I left, the business stopped growing because he's just an anti-risk taker. So business is actually going fairly backwards since I left, but I don't think that's just due to me. I think there's a multitude of factors, but it's quite interesting. But yeah, man. So, I understand where you're coming from. Like for a long time, I felt like, I couldn't get this right. And even when I got that one gym right, it took me a couple of years to figure out how to actually make it profitable, and then once I made it profitable, then we scaled it out pretty quickly because I was pretty aggressive with how I did things. But yeah, man, I totally understand, that feeling of having debt and, just not really knowing where to go. And then as soon as I went into the high ticket closing realm, that's really when I was like, yeah, I fucking found it. My first month as a high ticket closer, I did 25,000 in comms.
Wow.
But the reason why I did that is because I'd done 10 years of fitness selling every single day, so I had a pretty good grounding. But then
Mm-hmm.
I was closing really well, but I had a lot of opportunity lost because of the way that I sold. I did a 2-call close, and most of the people who I booked into the second call wouldn't turn up because I was selling in a very abrasive manner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what I did is I saw a training that we did, and on sales resistance. So I saw it and I was like, okay, I'll buy the course, whatever any PQ cost back then. I think it was like $3,000 or something. And I did it, and I consumed most of the course within the first week. And I was like, okay. And I started to apply it, and I was like, okay, I see how this works. And then I was like, I know I'm not going to figure it out. Right. I knew I wasn't going to. So I was like, I reached out to, he really didn't have a formalized inner circle. He didn't have a formalized coaching program at that point. You could just reach out to him, and if you wanted to give him money, he'd take it. He'd coach you.
Okay.
And then, so I paid him $30,000 for a year. I got 4 one-on-one sessions and Voxer access for the year. That's it.
Okay.
And that was 8 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And for the last 3 months in a row, I've averaged $110,000 a month in comms.
Wow.
And, you know, I had a pretty steady rise, but the reason is because, one, every single second call that I book turns up, because the way that I sell, you know, you can attest it's pretty casual, right? Right. But also my close rate is over 90%.
Okay.
So I pretty much just get after every opportunity that I've got. And it doesn't mean everyone closes on the first call. I would say most do, because I'm pretty good at setting loops and tie downs at the beginning of the call, which you've already agreed to. So, you know, we'll see how that goes later on.
Right.
So yeah, man. So like, you know, the way that I kind of describe it is like, the goal for me was like freedom for my family. That's pretty much it. You know what I mean? And, you know, like that's a great thing to run after. But for me, it was never enough. And so I have a poster in my office, right? Because I was special operations. Like, I have a different relationship with death, and I don't want to get all weird on you. I have a very different relationship because I've seen lots and lots of it. And so I look at life as an absolute privilege, you know, because I've nearly died a fair few times and I got some bad injuries and stuff like that. But I have a poster on my wall and it's got 4,000 little dots, right? And that is one dot to represent every week of life that we're given. And so every single Monday morning, I fill in one dot, right? And so that's a constant reminder for me to never let anything get in the way and never put any obstacles in my way to doing everything that I need to do to make sure that I can provide for my family what I want to provide, you know?
Yep.
And I think that, like, you know, one of my favorite quotes is a quote from Buddha where he says, like, the problem is you think you have time, you know? I think for you, the goal is get to 100K, get to 10K a month. You know, it's obviously the short-term goal. And that's a great thing to run after. But the more important thing to know for you is, like, you know, what happens if you don't figure out how to achieve that? What happens if you don't crack the code?
I'll find another way.
Yeah, see, okay, do you want me to analyze that answer and tell you why you shouldn't be happy when you hear that as a salesperson?
Yes.
Right? So most people would think that's a good thing to hear, right? Because it shows commitment to the goal. But really what it is, it's an emotional out to not have to make a decision.
Got it.
Because if you're going to do something no matter what, which is not the case, right? There is always an option of failing, always. And if we're not willing to accept and explore failure, then we're not really willing to accept success, because the lion has to be out of the cage. And if you keep the lion caged, you never run fast enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So what happens, man, if you don't figure this out? You keep doing the same shit that you're doing. Keep being the potential guy.
Then I'm probably not going to achieve the things that I want if I just keep going it alone and be the potential guy.
And is that something that you're willing to settle for?
No, I've done that for too long.
Okay. And whose choice is it whether you settle or not?
Mine.
And so why is it important to you now? Like, why not just do it later?
I mean, I want to enjoy, because I want to enjoy my life now. I want to do the things that I want to do now. I want to have that freedom. I want to set up my life, and I also want to start setting up life for my future family.
Okay, so is it time to make a change and start getting after it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right, man. Yeah, dude. So, dude, based off what you've told me, I think that what we do would actually work. So, if you want, I can kind of take you through how we can help solve some of those problems and put you in that situation where you can achieve those goals in a really nice, quick, abbreviated time frame.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Sweet, man. Just as a side note, what do you think of the sales process so far?
It's great. It's it's very casual. It's you're pulling on all the right strings in order for me to make a decision. Because right now, I mean, I don't even know. You threw out the $30,000 for a year, and that made me clam up. But you're pulling on the strings enough to keep me interested in listening and more open than I would usually be.
Okay, that's good to know.
So when I hear big numbers like that, and it's just like, okay, well, how am I going to pay for it? But that's kind of what I used to say. And if I can produce the way that I know that I can, and with this program, then I should be able to pay for it.
Okay. Well, the good news is I'm not going to ask you to drop 30 grand. Right?
Phew.
Okay. All right. I did that for a reason. That is what I paid, but I needed to set a higher expectation in your mind so that when I told you it was 15,000, you'd be happy about it.
Okay.
Right? All right.
Yep.
So that was
there you go.
That was very intentional. Okay. The other things that I did is I asked you, just so you know, I got you to agree to the fact that salespeople need to have a congruence of their speech and action, and that you struggle to overcome objections, and that you don't accept those objections. So you're kind of boxed into a corner here, bud. But anyway, we can talk about that later. So basically, what I want to run through. So it's 3 months, $15,000. If you want to extend that into a payment plan, you can. You can pay it off over 6 months. It just becomes 6 payments of $3,000. So it's a monthly payment of $3,000, right? So 6 closes and you've paid for it, right?
Yep.
Because you're going to be selling the top one. There's no more selling these bottom ones, right? So, right. And then we'll give you the exact structure. But the first thing is you get Voxer access to. Okay. So now the reason why Voxer, do you know what Voxer is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just that walkie-talkie app. Okay. So Voxer access is probably my favorite part of the program. The reason being because as a sales rep, like you need dynamic and real-time feedback. You don't just want a sales coach that you speak to once every 2 weeks for an hour where you have to try and belt feed questions, but there needs to be an agenda to do stuff as well. Like, because all the questions that you have are deals that are all gone already, because time kills all deals, right? So like we need to do things fast. Like I want you to be able to, you get an email from a client, he boxed you back in 10 minutes and you like answer the email. You have a call coming up like the next day, get advice on it. And what I would do is I would cut segments of my calls out to like 3 to 5 minute segments, and I'd put them in Voxer and I'd get feedback from it. Right.
Okay.
And what we're really looking to get is that tonality. So if you look at the question that I asked you, for example, which is like, when I was like, well, why is that important to you now though? There's 3 ways that I can ask that question. And what I do is I use social cues to my advantage. Okay. Now, because people essentially don't want to be weird. Okay. So most people kind of subconsciously do as they're told if you give them cues to do it. So if I go, like, well, mate, why is that important to you now, though? You can answer that in two different ways. You can answer that in regards to the tangible, which is the that, or the time frame, which is the now. Okay. Now, that there's some pros and cons with that. One, I can figure out what's more important to you, whether it be the tangible item or the time frame. But in reality, it sort of doesn't really serve me very well, because at the beginning of the call, I want to find out more about the tangible, which is how I said it the first time. The second time I asked you that question, I emphasize the now, because I want to dictate how you answer the question. So I go, well, why is that important to you now, though? Right? So, or I go, well, why is that important to you now? So I can either inflect or I can do a pause, right? And that's going to dictate that you do the that. Or I can go, well, why is that important to you now, though? And just that simple pause, you know exactly how to answer that question, right?
Yep.
So then I know what your answer is going to be, so then I know where to go, so my calls can be quick. And they always stay on task, right? And tangents are unproductive almost all the time. And the longer a call goes for, the more chance you have of getting a think about it.
Yep.
Okay. Right. So that's what Voxer does. It gives you that real-time dynamic feedback where you can get highly nuanced feedback very quickly. Right. Next thing we do is we do a scripting session every single week. So we give you a script. If you're selling digital marketing, we give you a proven 7-figure digital marketing selling script. Right. Written by Jeremy. Right. Now what we do is each week we do a group session where we go through that script in depth. Now, getting a script is great, but I can give you Monet's paintbrush. You're not going to paint for shit, right? So, like, what we need to do is, like, you need to have a very good understanding of why things are laid out in the way they're laid out. So if we take this call, for example, because and I'll send you this call if you want, man. It's being recorded. So essentially, we start off with connecting questions, right? So, you know, what are you looking for? Why are you here? What did you hope to get out of the call? Okay, then it's situation questions, you know, where I was asking about your sales process. You I left that very vague, and you started talking about the process of the marketing, which I didn't really care about. It's like, you know, I was like, okay, sweet. And then I kind of went back to the scripting, because that's sort of where I can provide the most value. Then I asked the first problem awareness question, which is, do you like the sales scripting you have in place now? Right.
Yeah.
And then I took you through that. And really what I'm trying to find out is, what's your problem, how long it's been going on for, what's causing it, and what impact it's having. Right. Now, I keep the impact at the beginning very general and very business-like. I haven't earned vulnerability from you yet, so I can't ask you a personal impact question. I have to earn that. Make sense? Right. So then I go into a little bit of goal setting, like a very, very minor goal. And then I go into solution awareness. Okay. I skipped a bunch of this because you answered it for me, so I didn't have to ask you. And then I went into the whole, like, you know, what's your ideal criteria? Okay. And then went into your future pacing, right? So really what I'm trying to do is, like, what's a goal look like for you? What do you want out of a solution? And then what does a solution mean for you, both tangibly and emotionally? Okay. Then what I'm trying to do is do those probing questions, which is designed to really pull the emotion out, which is around, you know, the stresses and the impact. And in between that stage, I did what's called, it sounds bad, but it's called tactical vulnerability, right? So I knew the next series of questions that I was going to ask was going to hit fairly hard. So I told you a story that opened me up emotionally to you, so you would feel comfortable enough to do the same. Makes sense?
Yep, absolutely.
Right. Okay. Then from there, we went through that whole piece. I sort of really dug in on that point. Then we went through the consequence questions. You gave me an initial non-buyer signal, which was saying that, you know, and then I explained that to you. So, you know, and then as we really start to explore failure, that's really when the urgency solidifies within your brain. And I have to get that. If I don't get that, it's going to be yeah, man, this sounds great. Send me an email.
Yeah.
Okay. Then from there, it's about going to where we are now. Okay. And by understanding that sequence in depth, you can play around with it. You can skip things, but you always know what boxes you need to tick. right? And then as soon as you ticked all the boxes and you're happy with the answers, you can move on to your presentation. Make sense? So every single week we do a real deep dive on scripting so you can really have a deep understanding. Then every single week we also do a role play session and some call recording reviews. Okay? So role play is great. Role play is the fastest way to get good. Okay? So once you have a good script, okay, then it's just about role playing it. And by having me moderate the role plays, right, you get very, very high level feedback. Plus you hear the feedback that he's giving other people, which is going to benefit you as well. Okay. And then there's a Facebook group and there's a few other little goodies in there as well. Like you get access to every script he's ever written. Plus you also get access to live sales calls that he's done.
Nice. Okay.
So there's no lack of material, but does that structure that I've laid out, does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Does that feel like it can help you get from where you are to where you want to go?
Yes, it does. It's just still that money piece that gives me a little bit of that fear and anxiety.
That's all right. That's a good thing, bro.
What I've always felt.
That's a good thing. Is there anything in particular that you feel like is going to be of most value to you?
Probably, it's probably going to be initially it's going to be the script because I don't have one that's proven, but going to be that in-depth dive of the script. Really all of it, because the in-depth dive of the script, always changing it depending on what I'm hearing, getting feedback about it. The role playing with being there is crucial, and the boxer as well. Definitely.
Okay. And how do you feel at this moment right now?
I feel, I feel like where I'm at financially, it's $15,000 is a lot to swallow because that's exactly the hole I put myself in. But I got to realize, if I do this, then it's like you said, letting the lion out of the cage.
Okay. And do you feel like you'll accept the same answers from people if you're doing everything that you can do to get to your goal?
No.
And do you the reason why I think I'm particularly good at selling this is because I have a lot of conviction around it. And even though I'm a pretty casual guy, I think the things that I say, I have a high level of confidence because if I'm perfectly honest and very, very cheesy, doing this program completely changed my life. And I consider myself quite an ethical and moral person. And I will never, when I told came on when he asked me to work to sell for him, I said, mate, I will do everything I can to get everybody that I think has an opportunity to get a tremendous ROI into this program. But if I don't think someone has the opportunity, I won't sell them. Right? Because I know how scary this conversation is on the other side, because when I did it, I only had like 40 grand in the bank and I gave him 30. And that sounds like a lot, but I got 2 kids and a mortgage, right? So, and in Australia, 20,000 a month is not much money. Like, it's good money, don't get me wrong, but like the house that I was living in was 6,000 a month rent.
Holy fuck.
And it wasn't even a fucking crazy house, dude. It was just a 4-bedroom house in a nice area. That's it, right? So, and the mortgage on it would have been about 14, right? That's why I rented it.
Okay.
So like, it's the equivalent of like living in New York, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was cash flow positive, but not by much. And I saw this as an opportunity because I'd had good wins, and I was like, okay, if I can figure this out, this is my opportunity to be able to, like, and on a personal level, man, to be perfectly real with you, like, my parents have no money. And like, when I was in the Army, I paid their mortgage. And so like, this was an opportunity for me. Like, I have my parents on a $5,000 a month retainer these days. I pay them $5,000 a month to cover their living expenses so that they can be happy. You know?
Yep.
And I like to be able to do that for my family, and I pay for my nephew's private schools and all that kind of stuff. To be able to do that is like, that's the reason why I'm up at 9:20 p.m. at night talking to you.
Yeah.
Because like, I know that I need to go to bed every single night knowing that I've done fucking everything that I can do to get to where I need to go. Because like, I know more than most that I'm not promised the next day. So what do you feel like you need to do to put yourself in the best position possible to be able to achieve your goals?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically taking that risk, because that's the one thing I haven't done. I've bought a few online courses, but like you said, they only get you so far. But pulling the trigger means there's no option of failure.
Is that a bad thing?
No.
But all you need to do, man, is put yourself in the best position to be able to achieve your goal. That's literally all you can do. What will happen will happen. And, you know, like one of the things that I like to look at, the way that, like, I like to use analogies, right? Because if I say pink elephant, you don't see the words, you see a pink elephant in your brain. Painting pictures is a very powerful way to convey concepts and ideas. And so if you look at the way that somebody makes decisions, you can imagine an island surrounded by water, right? And if someone's on a desert island that's surrounded by water and they can see nothing but horizon and water, then every single decision they make is going to be based on the fact that they are surrounded by water. But if they want to see the world for what it is, then they need to be on a mountain. And so the hard part is, how do you get the perspective of the guy that's on the mountain when you're the guy on the island? How do you make the decisions, the same decisions that guy made to get there? Because you don't even know the island's there. You don't even know the mountain's there, right? But the only thing you can do is strap your boots on and pick a direction, right? And then what happens a lot of the time, every now and then someone drowns. I'm not going to lie, right? But most of the time, what ends up happening is people realize the water was only ankle deep, and the only thing holding them back was the perception that it was deeper than it was. So, you know, sometimes you just got to fucking jump and hope that you grab the vine on the way down. But like, you know, or you can just stay on the edge and fucking hope for the best. So what do you think? Have I done enough? Have I made you believe in you as much as I do?
Yeah, you have.
Okay. So what's the best way to proceed from here?
You know what? Oh gosh, this is.
How good is it? Now you know how your prospects feel, right?
Right, exactly.
It's going to give you a whole different level of conviction, because you would have been there and you can tell the story. And telling stories are powerful, and people know they're true.
Yep.
You can't lie to people. It doesn't work, right? But that's why, like, my life, I've been lucky enough to be put in circumstances enough times that give me a very high level of conviction on the importance of acting now. And so, like, and I don't believe the excuses, because I know that you could probably go to your house right now and sell $2,000 worth of shit on Facebook Marketplace. I know that you could Uber Eats at night. There's no lack of fucking ways to make extra cash, right? So all we have to do is put, you know, the pedal to the metal, press the go button, and then we'll just make it work. And I'm here to help you if you need it. And so is, you know, but all you have to do is just put yourself in that position where you have, you know, a high caliber of people that want you to win. Because it doesn't make sense for me to sign you up and have you not get a result, because that second payment's going to bounce. And to be perfectly crude, I get paid as cash is collected. And I'm not here for, you know, 1/6 of my commission. I can tell you that right now. And the reason why we allow people to do 6-month payment plans on a 3-month course is because we know it works and everybody pays it early.
All right. I'm in. You got me.
How'd that feel?
That feels good. I mean, it's scary, but it's probably one of the best scary things I've done. And I'm in the whole $15,000 from not something that bettered my life. I'll tell you that.
Okay. Well, dude, I'm here for you, man. Yeah. Do you have any questions for me?
No. Or when? So you said on when does everything get started with the first meeting, and kind of how does the orientation or onboarding type start with the group?
Yeah, for sure. So what we'll do is I'll get everything scheduled, right? So on the 30th, we'll do that first payment. Once that goes through, you get automatically sent all the onboarding stuff, and then you'll be added to the Facebook group, and you'll be like, you still have your logins for any PQ. So over the next 10 days, just fucking just dive balls deep into that. I'll make sure that payment is canceled. And then it just sort of changes over, but you'll keep your NEPQ access.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Happy with that, brother?
Awesome. That sounds good. Yeah, I am. I'm going to go make sure I finish the NEPQ course before the 30th.
Yeah, awesome, dude. And yeah, man, I'm excited for you. It's going to be rad.
Thank you. I am too. I'm nervous, but it's a good nervous. This is going to be a giant leap towards my goal, and I'm actually really excited to be surrounded by yourself and other people such as yourself.
Okay, legend, dude. Well, I'll get another call, but man, great job. Super happy for you.
Thank you.
And I'll speak to you soon.
Appreciate it. All right, sounds good. Have a good night. All right, bye-bye.